I know how hard it was for me when I first had problems to actually talk about it, and even now, depending on the situation and who I'm with, I still find it very hard to talk about it. And if it can stop even one person going all the way down the route I went, it's got to be worth trying. Oh, it's going back probably now about 8 or 9 years. I was working with somebody who was difficult, is probably the best way of putting it, but he had this way of making you feel that if he had a problem, it was down to you. And I got to the point where I started losing all confidence in the way I worked. And then literally one morning I got up, I went to walk out the front door where I live, and apparently it was an hour and a half later, but my wife found me sitting in the corner of the kitchen sobbing my heart out. You get in your mind what you perceive other people think of mental illness. So you get that in your mind, and you've already decided that everybody's going to have you locked up in a padded room. Admitting then that there was something wrong was probably the hardest thing I have ever done in my life, because I thought I was a failure. I thought, because I'd been a soldier for 16 and a half years, and to me it was just, but admitting that was, it was weakness, it was hard. But then I accepted help from the doctor, medication and things like that, and that's when I started. I don't ever say to get better, because I still have, even now, awful days, but not as bad. I could cope with it, and I was willing to get on then. The first time I was ill, I don't think, honestly, I admitted to myself that there was a problem, and I just wanted to get back to work. But when I went off the second time, I really hit a low point. And my wife sort of sat down and talked to me. And it was then that, realising that it didn't bother her, then I finally thought, yeah, I've got to talk about it. And once I accepted it wasn't my fault as such, it wasn't something that, it was just there, it wasn't a weakness, it wasn't, then I started to be able to process it and get help, basically, and work through it. Instead of bottling it up, as I used to, where it becomes more and more of an issue, you sort of bottle up something really stupid, you forgot to write somebody's date of birth on a form, and yet by the end of the day, or when you get home and over the weekend, that's it, you're being sacked, that sort of thing. And just by talking to people about it, it puts it in perspective. Don't get to the point that I did, where I was tying a rope around a beam in the garage. I was at that low ebb where I was prepared to take my own life, and don't ever get to that stage, because it is horrible. And just talk to people. I mean, it doesn't have to be somebody at work, it doesn't have to be your wife, even your doctor. Just get help. Don't bottle it up, because it gets to the point where, as I said, I got to a scary place that I was, I'd never ever think I'd ever have been.